Right now, somewhere on Instagram, a 22-year-old in Bali is trying to sell you a course.
Oh, absolutely. Always in Bali.
Right. Always. And they're sitting on the hood of like a leased G-Wagon. They are staring directly into their phone and telling you with this absolute unwavering confidence that they built a six-figure empire this month.
And they did it using nothing but a laptop and a terrible hotel Wi-Fi connection?
Exactly. Well, today, we're going to completely ignore him. We're going to completely ignore that entire aesthetic.
Yeah, we're looking way past the leased cars today.
We really are. We're focusing entirely on the actual math of what it takes to build a highly profitable, highly defensive business right now for you, the listener, in the real world.
Because the real world operates very differently than the Instagram algorithm.
It really does. So we are working off an incredibly detailed piece of research today. It's titled The $10,000 Startup: Profitable Australian Business Models for 2026.
It is a fascinating document, really grounded stuff.
It is. And the mission of this deep dive is to isolate the actual mechanics of creating wealth today in the real economy, solving real problems.
Without needing $1 million in venture capital.
Right. No venture capital, no fancy corner office, and crucially, you do not need to quit your day job tomorrow morning to do this.
That is the biggest myth, I think. The idea that you have to burn the boats on day one.
Yeah, you don't. We are working with a hard limit today. We are only looking at businesses you can start for under $10,000. So, okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it. Because the most striking element of the current landscape, especially when you look at these low capital models, is that the Silicon Valley disruption myth is basically dead.
It's totally dead.
It is. For 2 decades, aspiring business owners have been conditioned to believe that success requires inventing a totally new paradigm.
Like you had to build a revolutionary app or launch a Web3 platform.
Exactly. Or engineer some crazy new piece of hardware. But looking at the data from the Australian market, and honestly this applies globally, the businesses that are actually surviving their first 2 years are profoundly uninnovative.
Uninnovative. I love that word for this.
Right. They are just aggressively practical. They are generating actual cash flow because they aren't trying to change the world.
So we are basically swapping out that whole disrupt the industry mindset for fix this specific headache for this specific person.
Precisely. The research aggregates all this advice from experienced operators, and the consensus is a massive rejection of trend chasing.
Because the trends change every week now.
They do. When capital was really cheap a few years ago, you could get funded on a purely speculative idea. You could just pitch a vibe, essentially.
Right. Uber for dog walkers on the blockchain or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now, the market demands immediate utility. And that utility is structured around what we can think of as the 5 pillars of the modern microenterprise.
Okay, the 5 pillars. Let's get into these because this is the foundation of the whole report.
Yeah, so if you are starting a business in 2026, you are looking for an intersection of these 5 specific traits.
Which are?
Low startup costs, high profit margins, recurring revenue, aggressive AI leverage, and a hyper-local or specialized niche focus.
Okay, I have to stop you there. I look at a list like that: low cost, high margin, recurring revenue, AI leverage, and niche focus. And it honestly sounds like a paradox.
It sounds like a unicorn, right?
It does. Because historically, if a business had a low barrier to entry, meaning low startup costs, the margins were razor thin. Anyone could literally just cross the street and open the exact same business to undercut you.
Yep, the race to the bottom.
Exactly. High margins usually required massive capital expenditure. You had to build a factory or buy a fleet of trucks or secure exclusive patents.
You had to buy your moat.
Right. So how does a single person listening to this right now with just a few $1,000s build a moat that protects those high margins? Is it really possible to hit all 5 of these at once?
Well, that historical paradox you just described is exactly why this research is so critical right now. What's fascinating here is how the democratization of artificial intelligence has completely fractured that old economic rule.
Fractured it how?
Technology has altered the baseline. Think about the past. If you wanted to run a lean niche consulting firm 10 years ago, you still had to pay a human being to do your bookkeeping.
Right, and manage your calendar, draft your proposals.
Exactly. Build your website. Those were fixed overhead costs. You had to pay for that administration.
And that ate your margin.
Right. Today, the AI leverage pillar, that 4th pillar, acts as the structural foundation that makes the other four pillars possible. Because you can automate all that administrative friction, your operating costs stay near zero.
Ah, I see. And because your operating costs are near zero, your margins automatically expand.
Exactly. And because you aren't burning cash on all that overhead, you actually have the breathing room to focus entirely on a specific local niche. You can solve an ongoing problem that generates the recurring revenue.
So the technology isn't actually the product. It's the invisible infrastructure.
That is a perfect way to phrase it.
It's what allows one person to have the output of, like, a 5-person team from 2015.
And that infrastructure shift moves us from the theoretical into the incredibly practical. When we look at where this leverage is highest, it points directly to the pure digital administration layer of the economy.
Okay, so let's get into the actual business models then. Because the research identifies the AI automation agency as arguably the biggest opportunity under $10,000.
It is arguably the highest upside model available right now, period. We are talking about an estimated startup cost of maybe $1,000 to $5,000.
Which is mostly just for software subscriptions, a decent laptop, and maybe some local marketing, right?
Yeah, it's incredibly lean. But to understand why it works, we have to ground this in the real world.
Yeah, let's do that. Because we aren't talking about building, a sentient robot here.
No, not at all. The scenario outlined in the analysis is brilliant. It uses a standard, mid-sized accounting firm in Brisbane as the example.
Okay, paint the picture for us.
So you walk into this office. You have highly educated partners billing hundreds of dollars an hour for their financial expertise.
Very lucrative on paper.
On paper, yes. But look at what the actual ecosystem of that office is doing on, say, a Tuesday afternoon.
It's usually a mess behind the scenes.
A total mess. The receptionist is manually copying data from a contact form on the website into an outdated Excel spreadsheet. A junior accountant is spending 3 hours drafting customized email responses to clients asking about tax deadlines.
And someone else is probably playing phone tag, trying to schedule quarterly reviews.
Exactly. It's just a symphony of administrative friction. It is pure cognitive leakage.
Cognitive leakage. I love that term.
It's true, though. The firm is paying premium salaries for financial brains, but the actual daily bandwidth is consumed by data transfer and scheduling logistics. Every single time a human being has to manually move information from one software silo to another, the firm loses margin.
Okay, wait, I have to push back here.
Go for it.
If I'm the senior partner at that accounting firm, and I've been running my practice for 20 years, and some 22-year-old walks in offering to automate my entire client onboarding pipeline, my immediate reaction is going to be heavy skepticism.
Sure, that's natural.
I mean, I know ChatGPT exists. I read the news. I know these tools are out there. So why wouldn't I just pay the monthly subscription fee for the software and have my existing office manager figure it out? Why hire the agency?
That is the most common question. And the answer is the cognitive load required to actually build the bridge between the tools.
What do you mean by building the bridge?
It's a massive blind spot for new entrepreneurs. They assume that because the software is accessible, the implementation must be easy. It is not.
Right. Having the tool isn't the same as knowing how to use it.
Exactly. Think about it like this. Buying copper wire at a local hardware store is cheap and accessible, but you still pay a professional electrician a massive premium to wire your house so it doesn't burn down.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
When the accounting firm partner pays an AI automation agency, they are not paying for access to a language model. They are paying for an operational architect. They don't have the time to learn the workflows.
They are paying for the invisible plumbing.
Exactly. The agency isn't just writing prompts into ChatGPT. They are building a digital nervous system.
So let's trace the exact mechanism of that plumbing. How does it actually work in practice?
Okay, let's look at the flow. A potential client visits the accounting firm's website and types a question into the chat widget,
which in a legacy system just generates an email to some generic info at inbox, right?
Yeah, and it just sits there until a human reads it the next morning. Maybe they reply, maybe they forget. But in the automated system you build, that chat widget uses an API.
An application programming interface.
Right, which is basically a secure digital handshake between two different software platforms. It instantly sends that website query to a language model.
But not just a generic model.
No, a model pre-trained strictly on the accounting firm's specific FAQs, their specific tone of voice, and their onboarding protocols.
So it sounds like the firm.
Exactly. It instantly answers the prospect's question. It determines if they are actually a qualified lead, and if they are, it offers a calendar link.
Boom. Right then and there.
Right there. When the prospect clicks the link and books a time, another API fires off. It creates a new client profile in the firm's CRM, blocks the accountant's calendar, and sends a customized welcome email with a checklist of tax documents to prepare.
Wow. And all of this happens at like 11:00 p.m. on a Sunday without a single human at the accounting firm lifting a finger.
Exactly. You are taking a process that previously took 3 different employees 2 days to coordinate, and you are reducing it to 0 seconds of human input.
That is insane leverage. And the math on this is what creates that recurring revenue pillar we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Because the agency doesn't just set this up and walk away, do they?
No, you can't just walk away. Software ecosystems require constant maintenance. APIs break when a platform updates.
Yeah, things constantly shift.
The language model needs to be retrained as the firm's services change. So the agency charges a setup fee up front, but the real business, the moat, is the retainer.
The monthly fee. What does the research say the numbers look like for that?
The research puts the baseline retainer at around $500 a month just for ongoing optimization and maintenance.
Per client.
Per client. So if you secure just 10 local businesses, maybe a couple of accountants, a law firm, a real estate brokerage, that is $5,000 in monthly recurring revenue.
That's a $60,000 annual baseline.
Built entirely on digital leverage, with essentially 0 variable costs once the systems are up and running.
So what does this actually mean for you, the agency owner? It means you have completely decoupled your income from your time.
Yes. You aren't billing by the hour anymore. You are billing by the value of the friction you removed from their business.
That is such a crucial mindset shift. And that exact same philosophy applies to the second purely digital model the report highlights, which is the AI content production service.
Yeah, and here, the startup cost drops even lower. The report estimates it at under $2,000.
Because you really just need the pro versions of a few AI tools and a website.
Yeah.
But the friction being solved here isn't internal administration, is it? It's external visibility.
Right. Every local business knows they need to exist online. A plumbing company, for example, knows they need a functional website. They know they need to show up on Google when someone searches for a burst pipe.
They know they should probably send an email reminding past customers to schedule a winter heater check.
They know all of it. But the plumber is currently under a house fixing a pipe.
Right. They do not have the time, the energy, or the desire to sit at a laptop at 8:00 p.m. and write a 1,500-word article on the benefits of preventative maintenance.
They hate doing it. Which brings us to arguably the most critical insight in the entire report regarding this specific business model. It is a trap that catches almost every novice entrepreneur.
Okay, what's the trap?
They walk into the plumbing business and they try to sell the technology itself. They start talking about generative AI and neural networks and semantic SEO optimization.
And the plumber's eyes just completely glaze over.
Exactly. The research makes this explicit. You are not selling AI, you are selling outcomes.
That is a golden nugget right there.
Yeah.
You aren't selling AI, you're selling outcomes. So the dividing line isn't the sophistication of the tool you're using, it's how you frame the result to the client.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, small business owners operate entirely in the realm of outcomes. A lead is an outcome. A book job is an outcome.
They don't care how the sausage is made.
They really don't. When you run an AI content agency, your pitch isn't, I will use ChatGPT to write your blogs.
Because they could do that themselves poorly.
Exactly. Your pitch is, I will take 15 minutes of your time once a month on a quick phone call. You just talk to me about the weirdest jobs you did that month. From that one phone call, I will generate your monthly newsletter, 4 blog posts for your website to capture local search traffic, and 12 social media updates.
And the ultimate outcome.
Your phone will ring more often, and you will never have to look at a blank Word document again.
That is a phenomenal mechanism because you act as the extraction layer.
The extraction layer, yes.
You use an AI transcription tool to pull the raw expertise out of the plumber's brain during a brief conversation. Then you use a language model to reformat that raw, messy transcript into polished, platform-specific content.
You are using the AI to scale the plumber's authentic expertise. You are not using it to invent fake expertise.
And that authenticity is the moat. Because generic AI content is useless now. It gets rapidly penalized by search engines.
Exactly. The value you provide as the agency is the curation and the operational discipline. You ensure that the newsletter actually goes out on the first of the month.
You're the project manager.
You are. The technology just gives you the margin to do this for 20 different plumbers simultaneously without having to hire a massive team of copywriters.
This shifts the entire paradigm of how a business scales. I mean, think about the traditional corporate timeline. It was entirely linear. Start company, hire staff, grow.
Right. You start a company, you acquire a few clients, you become overworked, so you raise capital or take out a loan to hire an assistant, and you get more clients, and you hire a marketing manager.
And your revenue grows, but your overhead grows at the exact same rate.
Exactly. Every dollar of new product is just eaten by a new human salary. It's exhausting.
Well, the new rule of entrepreneurship, as defined by this research, completely breaks that linear timeline. The sequence is no longer start, hire, grow. It is start, automate, scale.
Start, automate, scale.
You replace the entire middle layer of human administration with software leverage. AI now replaces the marketing assistant, the receptionist, the researcher, the copywriter. Leverage beats simply working harder. The solo operator running this agency from their living room can manage the same client load that would have required a boutique agency with a staff of 6 people a decade ago.
It is incredible. But we've spent a lot of time in the purely digital realm so far. Software, automating software.
Yeah, we have. But we don't live in a purely digital world. The local businesses we are talking about, cafes, medical clinics, gyms, they exist in physical space.
And the analysis makes a fascinating pivot here into how these exact same low-cost, high-leverage models apply to the physical environment.
Bridging the digital and the physical. Let's talk about opportunity number 2 from the report, digital signage and business display solutions.
This is where we see the concept of digital leverage manifesting in hardware.
The estimated startup costs, it's a bit higher here, right? Between $5,000 and $10,000.
Yeah, because you are actually dealing with physical products, but the underlying mechanics are brilliant.
Let's use an example. Think about a local independent cafe. You walk in and they have a printed menu board up above the espresso machine.
It's very standard.
Right. But every time the cost of milk goes up and they need to raise the price of a flat white by 20 cents, what happens? They have to pay a graphic designer to adjust the file. They have to send it to a printer. They pay for the physical printing. They wait 3 days. And then they manually install a new piece of plastic.
It is incredibly slow, it's expensive, and it's totally inflexible.
It is. But the physical environment is finally catching up to the digital environment.
The solution here is replacing that static plastic board with a commercial-grade digital display. An LCD screen that can be updated instantly from literally anywhere in the world.
Okay, but the immediate assumption most people make is that the business model is just retail. Like, you buy a TV wholesale for $500, you sell it to the cafe for $1,000, you install it, and you walk away.
Which would be a terrible business model.
Right, because it violates our third pillar.
Yeah.
Recurring revenue.
Exactly. It requires you to constantly hunt for new hardware sales just to survive.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The true opportunity isn't selling the TV screen. The screen is essentially a Trojan horse to establish a digital subscription business inside a physical space.
A Trojan horse. That's exactly what it is. Because the cafe owner does not want to learn how to log into a cloud-based content management system.
No way.
They don't want to figure out the exact pixel dimensions to make a photo of a croissant look good on a vertically mounted screen. And they certainly don't want to troubleshoot the Wi-Fi connection to the media player when it goes down.
They just want to sell coffee.
Yeah.
So you provide the hardware. The report says you might even lease it to them to lower their upfront cost. And then you charge a monthly management retainer.
Right. When they want to run a weekend flash sale on pastries, they just send you a text message.
Yeah.
You use AI image generators or pre-built templates to instantly design the graphic, and you push it to their screen remotely.
And you are doing this, managing a network of screens across dozens of local businesses from your laptop.
Yes. And there is a very telling detail in the research regarding this specific model. Tucked into the analysis of digital signage, there is a meta note.
I saw that. It's super interesting. It states, in parentheses, this aligns directly with your Dynapix business experience.
Yeah. That inclusion completely changes the weight of the analysis. It indicates that this isn't just theoretical ivory tower business school strategy. The author, or the intended recipient of this research, has direct operational experience running a company called Dynapix in this exact space.
They've lived it. They have dealt with the broken screen mounts, the clients who forget their passwords, the actual raw margins of the hardware.
It provides massive street credibility. The estimated startup costs and the recurring revenue models aren't guesses. They are battle-tested numbers from the Australian market.
You are basically building your own private advertising network, one local screen at a time.
Exactly. And speaking of leveraging what you already know, we have to look at opportunity number 5, the ultimate low-overhead model. The opportunity that requires essentially zero new technology to learn and no physical hardware to install at all.
Niche consulting.
Niche consulting. The startup cost is listed as under $2,000, which is realistically just the cost of a basic website, a domain name, and maybe a premium LinkedIn subscription.
But the resistance to this is always psychological, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. Imposter syndrome is huge here.
People hear the word consultant, and they picture, like, a partner at McKinsey in a tailored suit, armed with a 100-page slide deck, advising a Fortune 500 CEO on global macroeconomic trends.
And they think, well, I can't do that. I'm just a mid-level manager at a regional logistics company.
Right. But this raises an important question about how we value our own lived experience. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the corporate consultant model is about broad, abstract strategy. But the micro-consulting model outlined here is about hyper-specific operational pain relief.
Pain relief is the key phrase. Let's break down the mechanism of that. Say you have spent the last 8 years working as an inventory manager for a regional chain of hardware stores.
Okay, you know the ins and outs.
You know exactly how much money gets trapped in dead stock. You know the exact inefficiencies and how local suppliers handle returns.
You don't need to know how to run a marketing campaign.
No. And you don't need to know how to structure an HR department. You simply package your 8 years of highly specific inventory friction into a repeatable audit.
You walk into a different, non-competing retail business, maybe a chain of independent pharmacies, and your proposition is entirely outcome-based.
Just like the AI content agency.
Exactly. You don't sell consulting hours. You sell the discovery of trapped capital. Your pitch is, I will analyze your backroom inventory flows. Historically, I find that businesses of your size have between $50,000 and $80,000 tied up in inefficient ordering cycles. I will build you a new procurement protocol. My fee is a flat $10,000.
And if you save them $50,000, your $10,000 fee isn't an expense. It's a 500% return on investment for them.
It's a no-brainer. And let's map this against the 5 pillars we discussed earlier. Startup cost, almost zero.
Check.
AI leverage. You use an LLM to digest their messy spreadsheets, find the anomalies, and draft your final report, turning a week of data analysis into a single afternoon.
Check.
Local or niche specialization.
Thank.
Absolutely. You are the apex predator of this one specific unsexy operational problem.
Check.
Profit margin. It is effectively 100%. Because the only thing you are selling is your accumulated neural pathways.
It is the ultimate arbitrage of experience. You are taking knowledge acquired while being paid a salary by someone else and repackaging it as a high-ticket, standalone product.
All right, so we have covered software automation, digital content, cloud-connected screens, and specialized knowledge work. But we have to acknowledge a massive segment of the audience listening to this right now.
The people who are sick of screens.
Exactly. What if you want absolutely nothing to do with a laptop? What if you don't want to build APIs? You don't want to manage digital content? And you certainly don't want to sit in boardrooms analyzing spreadsheets. Are you locked out of this low-cost, high-margin ecosystem?
Not at all. In fact, some of the most robust defensive moats in the entire small business landscape exist as far away from a computer screen as you can possibly get.
Which brings us to section 4. The research shifts dramatically here into what I playfully dub the unglamorous gold mines.
The unglamorous gold mines. I like that.
We are moving from the digital cloud to dirt, grime, and physical convenience. And the first one on this list forces us to really confront our own biases about what a good business actually looks like.
Opportunity number 3, commercial cleaning.
The startup cost is between $2,000 and $5,000 for industrial equipment, insurance, and chemical supplies. And the analysis is incredibly blunt about this. It explicitly states, this isn't glamorous, which is exactly why it works.
Because the psychology of the aspiring entrepreneur is usually their own worst enemy.
Oh, totally.
The people desperately trying to build the next viral app or a global dropshipping empire will completely ignore commercial cleaning because it offers zero social status.
You cannot post an aesthetic photo from a dental clinic bathroom at 10:00 p.m. on a Tuesday It just doesn't work on Instagram.
No, it does not. So the lack of glamour acts as a massive barrier to entry. You filter out 90% of your potential competitors immediately because they are too proud to mop a floor.
That is such an advantage.
Yeah.
But let's look at the actual financial mechanics of a commercial cleaning contract compared to, say, a typical tech startup.
Right.
In a tech startup, you have high churn. Customers cancel software subscriptions the moment they get bored or cash gets tight.
Right. Now look at a mid-sized law firm. They have clients visiting the office every single day.
The carpets must be vacuumed, the trash must be emptied,
Yeah.
the bathrooms must be sanitized.
It is not an optional luxury. It is a mandatory, non-negotiable operational baseline. Every business needs it, weekly or monthly, regardless of what the economy is doing.
It is a utility.
It is a utility, and because it is a utility, the churn is incredibly low. If you are reliable, if you just show up when you say you will, and the office smells clean when the staff arrives on Monday morning, that law firm will pay your monthly invoice for years without a second thought.
Because they do not want to go through the hassle of interviewing new cleaners. It's friction.
Exactly. Small contracts can be worth thousands annually, but this brings up a crucial distinction in the analysis.
Residential versus commercial.
The massive difference between residential cleaning and commercial cleaning. If you clean houses, you are dealing with homeowners paying out of their post-tax discretionary income.
And when the broader economy dips and household budgets tighten, the bi-weekly house cleaner is the very first expense to be cut. It's a luxury.
But a business pays for cleaning with pre-tax dollars out of an allocated operational budget. The economy can dip, but the law firm still needs its trash emptied.
The stability of commercial contracts is what transforms physical labor into a highly predictable, recurring revenue asset.
Sticking with this theme of unglamorous physical moats, the analysis points to another opportunity driven by a very specific macroeconomic trend.
Opportunity number 4. Mobile car detailing. Startup cost, $3,000 to $8,000. You need a van setup, a generator, a pressure washer, and professional-grade chemicals.
And the trend driving this is the aging Australian vehicle fleet.
People are keeping their cars way longer.
Exactly. New cars are staggeringly expensive right now, interest rates are high, and consumers are holding on to their existing vehicles significantly longer than they did a decade ago.
And when you hold on to a depreciating asset longer, the market for preserving that asset explodes.
We aren't talking about a $10 drive-through car wash here. We are talking about asset preservation, high demand for detailing, paint correction, interior restoration, and ceramic coating.
The mechanism of the moat here is convenience. You go to them.
The traditional model requires a customer to drive to a detailing shop, drop their car off, arrange a ride back to work, and then reverse the entire process at the end of the day.
It is massive friction. Nobody wants to do that.
The mobile model exploits that friction. The customer parks their car at their office at 9:00 a.m. You arrive in a self-contained van. You perform a highly specialized service right there in the parking lot. At 5:00 p.m., the customer walks out to a vehicle that looks brand new.
And that convenience allows you to charge a premium. Premium details generate hundreds of dollars per job. And because your shop is a van, you have bypassed the single biggest killer of local businesses.
Commercial lease?
Right. You are not paying $5,000 a month for a retail storefront on a busy road. Your overhead is gas and soap.
Which leads perfectly into the final physical model highlighted. Opportunity number 7, pressure washing and exterior cleaning.
Startup costs are in the $3,000 to $8,000 range again. You need professional-grade surface cleaners and chemical soft wash systems.
This one is highly overlooked. You're cleaning driveways, roofs, commercial building exteriors, and there's a massively growing sub-niche in solar panel cleaning.
The margins on these services are exceptional. And I want to point out a brilliant piece of psychology from the text regarding this. It notes that the sales engine for pressure washing doesn't require complex marketing funnels or persuasive copywriting. It relies entirely on the concept of visible transformation.
Because the human brain is hardwired to respond to contrast.
Exactly. You don't need to explain the benefits of a clean driveway to someone. You take your smartphone, you photograph a driveway that is pitch black with 10 years of mold and grime. You clean exactly half of it.
Just half.
Just half. And you take a before and after photo showing the stark, visceral line between the black mold and the gleaming white concrete. You post that single photo in a local community Facebook group with your phone number.
That visual contrast bypasses the logical part of the brain entirely. It just hits the emotional desire for order and cleanliness.
The photo is the entire sales pitch. It sells itself. I honestly look at these three models, the cleaning, the detailing, the pressure washing, and I see them as sweat equity subscriptions.
Sweat equity subscriptions. That perfectly encapsulates the dynamic.
You are trading physical exertion sweat equity for the reliability of localized, high-margin recurring cash flow.
And you are building a physical moat. The developer building SaaS products in another country cannot compete with you for the contract to soft wash the local strata complex's roof.
No, they can't. You are competing only locally, and usually against legacy operators who are terrible at answering their phones and don't know how to use digital tools to route their jobs efficiently.
Exactly. Boring often equals profitable. The lack of glamour means lower competition from the Instagram fantasy crowd, which leads to highly reliable local moats.
Which is the perfect bridge to the next phase of this analysis. Because let's say you take one of these models, you launch the mobile detailing business, or you start pressure washing. You do great work, the visible transformation photos go viral in your local suburb, and your phone starts ringing off the hook.
It sounds like a dream.
It does. But suddenly, you hit the invisible ceiling that crushes almost every successful local service business. You're spending 10 hours a day on the tools, sweating, doing the physical labor.
And then you come home exhausted.
And you have to spend 3 hours answering emails, drafting quotes, sending out invoices, and chasing down clients who haven't paid you.
The operational bottleneck. The success of the physical labor actually creates an unsustainable burden of digital administration.
Yes. This brings us to Section 5. Scaling the admin bottleneck and the crucial landmines you have to absolutely avoid when starting out. The research highlights an opportunity that exists specifically to solve the pain of that successful local operator.
Opportunity number 8, the virtual assistant agency. Startup cost, under $2,000.
We discussed the AI automation agency earlier, which is about building software bridges. The VA agency is different. It's about applying human judgment, augmented by AI, to handle the daily chaos of a small business.
Think about a local electrician. They are highly skilled tradespeople. Their time is worth over $100 an hour when they are actually wiring a house.
But they are losing hours every week managing their inbox and trying to format quotes on their iPad while sitting in their truck. Australian tradies, consultants, and small businesses are overwhelmed with this stuff.
The electrician needs a dispatcher, an accounts receivable clerk, and a customer service rep, but they cannot afford to hire 3 full-time employees.
So the virtual assistant agency steps into that void. They provide fractional administrative support.
But the analysis provides a very specific, aggressive warning regarding how you structure this for scale. It explicitly advises, do not just become a VA, build a VA agency. Start alone, but scale later.
Because if you are a solo VA, you have just bought yourself a low-paying remote job.
Exactly. You are still trading hours for dollars. If you charge $30 an hour, your income is hard capped by the number of hours you can stay awake.
The agency model is where the leverage exists. The research suggests a specific sequence here. You take on your first 3 clients yourself. You figure out exactly how to manage an electrician's inbox.
You build a template for their quotes. You figure out the exact script for following up on unpaid invoices.
You map that entire process out into a step-by-step standard operating procedure manual. Once that manual exists, the work is no longer dependent on your unique brain.
And that's when you can hire a remote worker, maybe someone overseas, or a local stay-at-home parent looking for part-time hours. You pay them a fair wage to execute the manual while you charge the electrician the agency rate.
Your profit is the margin between the two. You have created an arbitrage engine.
It is a highly scalable model. However, the presence of the VA agency in this analysis creates an interesting friction point when we look at what the author explicitly tells us to avoid.
Yes, the avoid list. The crucial warnings, the landmines that will blow up your $10,000 runway before you even get off the ground. The first one is a direct hit on the Instagram fantasy we talked about at the start, generic dropshipping.
The allure is obvious, right? You don't hold inventory. You set up a Shopify store, run Facebook ads, and a supplier in China ships a cheap plastic gadget directly to the consumer.
But the underlying math has collapsed. The barrier to entry is so low that the competition is infinite. You aren't actually building a brand, you are just participating in an arbitrage game on ad platforms.
And the cost of acquiring a customer on Facebook or TikTok is constantly rising. By the time you pay for the ad that actually converts, your entire profit margin on that cheap gadget is completely gone.
The ad platforms extract all the value. You get nothing. Now, the second landmine is the generic social media agency. The analysis states the market is overcrowded and poisoned by low trust. Too many businesses have paid retainers to agencies that promised explosive growth and delivered nothing but a few generic graphics with motivational quotes.
Many burned clients out there.
Okay, wait, let me stop you right there because we need to interrogate this.
Sure, go ahead.
We just spent 10 minutes praising the idea of a virtual assistant agency that manages a client's digital tasks. We praised the AI content agency. But now the research is telling us that a generic social media agency is a toxic landmine. Aren't they fundamentally the same thing? Aren't they all just sitting behind a screen typing on behalf of a client? Why is one a highly defensive gold mine and the other a volatile trap?
This raises an important question, and it is the vital distinction between surviving an economic downturn and going bankrupt. It comes down to where your service sits in the client's operational hierarchy.
What do you mean by operational hierarchy?
Well, a generic social media agency is selling vanity metrics. They are selling the abstract promise of brand awareness. They tell a plumber, look, we got you 300 likes on this Instagram reel.
But likes do not pay the plumber's mortgage.
Exactly. It is an aesthetic luxury. When inflation hits or the local economy slows down, the business owner looks at their expenses. The $1,000 retainer for generic Instagram reels is the very first thing they slash.
Because it is totally disconnected from the core engine of the business.
Exactly. Now look at the virtual assistant managing the inbox and the invoices. If the VA stops working, the quotes don't get sent out. If the quotes don't go out, new jobs aren't booked. If the invoices aren't followed up on, the cash literally stops flowing into the bank account.
The VA is not a luxury. They are the central nervous system of the business's cash flow.
A business owner will take a pay cut themselves before they fire the person who ensures the money actually gets collected. Core operational tasks versus vanity metrics.
That is an incredible mental model. Are you selling to their ego or are you operating their cash flow? One is expendable, the other is indispensable.
It dictates the entire survival of B2B service models.
Let's round out the avoid list. The third warning is building an AI startup without a customer.
This is the massive danger of falling in love with the technology instead of the problem. Entrepreneurs will burn their entire $10,000 budget building a custom software application, paying developers, designing logos, all before they've ever asked a single human being to pay for it.
It is building a bridge to nowhere. The rule is absolute. Validate the demand with cash first, then build the complex backend.
And the final landmine, franchises with high fees.
Oh, this one is tough. Because many aspiring business owners are terrified of the unknown, so they pay a massive premium for a recognized brand name. They buy a commercial cleaning franchise instead of starting their own independent one.
But in doing so, they are locked into highly restrictive contracts. They have to buy supplies from the franchisor at a markup, and they hand over a percentage of their gross revenue forever.
They haven't bought a business. They have purchased an incredibly stressful job where they take all the risk but share the reward.
They surrender their leverage for the illusion of safety. It's a trap.
All right, we have dissected the mechanics of digital leverage, we have explored the unglamorous physical moats, and we have navigated the landmines. As we move into the outro of this deep dive, the research provides a definitive conclusion.
A final ranking.
Yes. The author was asked, if you were handed $10,000 today, how would you rank these specific opportunities based on the current Australian market conditions?
It forces a real prioritization of those 5 pillars we discussed at the start.
Interestingly, and I just have to point this out playfully, we discussed 8 models today, but the author's final ranking only lists 7. They dropped the VA agency from the final strict ranking, perhaps viewing it as more of a broader operational strategy rather than a standalone B2B model. But let's look at the 7 that made the final cut.
Let's do it.
Coming in at number 1, the AI automation agency. The justification is that it possesses the absolute highest upside and addresses the fastest growing pain point in the economy, which is administrative bloat.
Number 1, for a reason. High demand, high margin.
Number 2, digital signage and smart display solutions. Ranked highly because it perfectly bridges physical products with a digital recurring revenue subscription model.
It takes the predictability of software and anchors it right there in a local cafe.
Number 3, niche consulting. Ranked here because the margins are unparalleled. It leverages your experience. You are monetizing the friction you have already experienced in your career.
Pure brain power arbitrage.
Number 4, commercial cleaning. The ultimate utility. Boring, unsexy, unglamorous, but financially bulletproof in a downturn.
Reliable B2B cash flow.
Number 5, mobile detailing. strong cash flow, high-ticket visual transformations, and absolutely zero commercial lease overhead.
You're charging a premium for convenience.
Number 6, the AI content agency. Highly scalable, remote, and outcome-focused.
You can run it from anywhere.
And finally, number 7, pressure washing. A hyper-local, high-margin service driven entirely by the psychology of visible contrast.
Before and after photos. Simple and effective.
So looking at this entire landscape, from writing APIs for accountants to pressure washing driveways, what does this all mean? What is the fundamental shift happening here?
The author distills a thesis that challenges a deeply ingrained cultural excuse. When people feel trapped in their financial situation, the default mechanism is to blame a lack of capital.
Right. They say, if I only had $100,000 or an investor, I could start a real business and escape.
Exactly. But this research systematically dismantles that excuse. The truth is, most people do not need more money. They usually just need a fundamentally better business model.
We've been trained to think in terms of heavy capital.
We have. But
Sure.
the reality of 2026 is that the cost of leverage has collapsed. A $10,000 business today can effectively compete with a $100,000 business from just a few years ago because technology has democratized leverage.
In 2010, leverage meant hiring 50 employees or buying $1 million factory. Today, leverage is a $50 a month API subscription that does the work of 5 receptionists.
Or a $200 pressure washer that generates $1,000 of value in a single weekend. The winners in this new microeconomy will not be the people with the deepest pockets. They will be the operators who are the most aggressively practical.
They are the ones who stop trying to reinvent the universe and just focus on removing friction from their immediate surroundings.
A lean, specialized $10,000 business today, armed with AI tools and zero overhead, can run circles around a sluggish, heavily capitalized business that is still operating on a 2015 playbook.
It is a staggering transfer of capability back to the individual. But as we wrap up, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final provocative thought to mull over on your commute tomorrow.
Oh, this is a big one.
We've spent this entire deep dive looking at how one person, armed with AI and digital tools, can now execute the work that previously required an entire corporate department. The copywriter, the data analyst, the receptionist, the dispatcher, they have all been collapsed into software workflows managed by a single operator.
Completely automated.
Right. If this curve of technological leverage continues to accelerate, we have to ask a profound question. Does the traditional concept of a company eventually cease to exist?
It really makes you wonder.
Think about it. A company is essentially just a container for human collaboration. We build companies because one person couldn't possibly build the product, market it, sell it, and handle the customer support alone.
The coordination costs were too high?
But if AI allows an individual to operate a fleet of specialized autonomous bots that handle all of those functions simultaneously, why would anyone ever incorporate a massive organization again?
In a few years, will we stop creating companies entirely?
Are we moving toward an economy where the Fortune 500 is replaced by millions of hyper-specialized micro-agencies of one? Will the future of business just be individual humans, acting as conductors, directing their own personal orchestras of AI bots to interact with the market?
It sounds like science fiction, but looking at the mechanics of the AI automation agency and the content production services we unpack today, the foundation is already built.
It is. The tools are cheap, the business models are proven, the friction is everywhere waiting to be solved. Look around your own neighborhood, look at your own professional experience, and ask yourself which of these local low-cost modes you could launch tomorrow. The barrier to entry has vanished. The rest is entirely up to you. Until next time.
Matt Show.